Looks like we made it. You know that song? I sing it all the time. Actually, I don't sing it all the time. That was a complete and utter lie. Hello, welcome to Untangled. We are on episode 82. I'm excited about this one. Let me get my necklace all fancied up and ready for y'all's. Um, hello, everyone. How are you guys? How's everyone doing? Good, bad, somewhat okay, happy, sad, nervous, joyful, all the different emotions that we get to feel in this human experience, in this human journey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's really good to be here with you guys. I am happy to be alive. I am happy that I get to show up every week and share with you guys the magic and miracles and WTFs of this human evolution. And the hey, grab my hand and let's walk through this together um, experiment. So before I begin, what I want to share with all of you today, um, first of all, thank you for being here. Untangled is a series that I do on YouTube all about how to make the uncomfortable quite comfortable and normal. And it's all about remembering how to navigate this evolution, this journey in consciousness that we're going through, that every human is experiencing, and what you agreed to before you came down into the body. Um, Everything that you are going through and experiencing, unraveling, unlearning, relearning, the programs you're stepping out of, the healing that you're doing, all of it breaks down to the evolution in human consciousness, which is the frequency shift on the planet and the frequency shift in your human body. It's that simple. It's very, very difficult to actually experience, and it's very, very difficult to remember. And so I have decided to do this show every week to remind us of what we're doing here, and how to best navigate it. Um, with ease and grace and openness and compassion for yourself and others. So thank you for being here. If you are new to my channel, and if you're not new to my channel, thank you for being here. Definitely subscribe. My channel has been silently pushed down into the corners of the dungeon somewhere. So it has been kind of frozen in its ability to get to people. So if you can subscribe and if you can share my videos, it'd be very, very helpful for me. Also, if you can hit the thumbs up button, it'd be very, very helpful for me um, to get this information across to as many people as possible, because people are really suffering and struggling with what is happening right now. Because people don't quite understand what this is all about. Thank you, Mary Jo Taylor, for that super chat. I love your name, Mary Jo Taylor. And that's it. That's all I want to share in terms of uh, whatever they're called, housekeeping. I just want to get right into today's topic. So today's topic is about the training grounds that I always seem to find myself in. And most likely you are finding yourself in as well. You just don't realize that you're being trained. Um, and the training that you are under and the training that I am under is about becoming more and more energetic. So we all know. Thank you, Kathy Ball, for the super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Um, You're welcome, Sam. We all know that this is an energetic world. I always find it so fascinating that we can understand on some kind of conceptual idea, i.e., logic. We can read about, oh, yeah, it's all energy, right? And we can understand that we are not the physical bodies. We are souls. We are not the body. We are all one. All these like beautiful concepts in the world, right? It's a whole other game when you actually have to start practicing the beingness of energy, right? And how it's going to play out in your world. Every single one of you watching this and listening to this are being pulled into more of an energetic state of being. So you're starting to live life more and more through the lens of energy, feeling. Okay. I'm listening. There's going to be a package that's about to be dropped off at my house. It's a very dramatic van thing that just pulled up. Wonder what I'm getting. Oh, they just dropped the package. I always get excited like it's Christmas time. Okay. As if I don't know what I just ordered, but I have no idea what I ordered from Amazon. It might not even be from Amazon. Oh, there he goes. Okay. All right. So back to the story. We're learning how to be more energetic, right? So everything is going to guide you into more energetic, being more energetic. And what this means is that your body is energy. It has a physical form to it, but it's energy. Your soul is energy. Everything in the world is energy, right? Every other person you come into contact with is energy. Every experience you have is energy. It's an energetic exchange between you and that experience. Okay. So it's all energy. And what we call discernment, okay, when you're learning how to discern, what discernment means is that you are now learning how to dissect the energetic world. So, how do things feel? Discernment is how does something feel inside the physical form, right? This feels good, this feels bad. This feels like I should be doing this or I shouldn't be doing this, right? This feels right. This doesn't quite feel right. When I'm with this person, I'm just not in alignment, really. Thank you, Michelle, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. When I'm with this person, I feel so ease and like flow, and it feels good or it feels right, right? So you're learning how to come out of the logical mind of this is my mother, so I should feel ... or this is my brother, this is my partner, it needs to be easy or effortless, or this is my husband, so I should be getting along with him. When we live in the mind, right, and we live in logic, reasoning, it's not energetic. So there's stories to it, there's thoughts to it, there's the why of it, right? It's very logical. It's very like do, right? We figure things out in the mind. We figure out how to do things with in logic. When you start dropping into more of the body and you start coming into more of the energetic world, then what happens is that you start feeling the energies, and now you have to use discernment, discerning energies. And when you start discerning energies, it's not about logic. It's not about the why. It's not about the should or the shouldn't, meaning, well, this is ... in my life, so I shouldn't be feeling this way about them. Right? Or, I just planned a trip to Kenya. I shouldn't be feeling like going back home. Resonance, which is underneath discernment, doesn't have all these different mind tricks to it. Okay. And so when you start practicing this, it's extremely confusing. So the place that a lot of us are in right now is learning even more, which is practicing even more how to move through the world through the lens of discernment. Energy, how does it feel? And feeling is not, I'm not talking about emotions. Okay. I'm talking about a deeper dropping in of this feels right, this feels wrong. This feels good, this feels bad. It's not about like this, oh, I'm anxious around this person, or I have worry around this person. Although that's great. If you can feel anything, it's better than not feeling at all. But when you start practicing this, you guys, you're going to start to drop beyond, you're going to drop underneath all the busyness of the mind, all the busyness of the the complicated logistics that the mind does, the gymnastics of the mind. Okay, but right now, thank you, Angela, for the super chat. Really appreciate that. What you're gonna be feeling right now and going forward, because this you don't land, you're not gonna land in you're not gonna master resonance and discernment. It's gonna take quite some time. That's why we're in training. Okay. So you're learning how to drop deeper down into the body in this feeling state where you're listening to what feels right as opposed to what is the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do, the thing you should or shouldn't do, how the world wants you to do life. It's not going to work like that anymore. And the more you do this, the more you're going to perhaps rattle people around you. You're going to rattle the external world. You're going to look crazy. All the things that you've already been doing for quite some time. It's just going to get even more and more uh, intense in a good way. You're going to start feeling more and more, feeling this knowingness. So discernment is peeling apart the energies of what you're experiencing all day long, the feelings, really feeling. That's why I'm like always encouraging you guys. What does it feel like when you listen to somebody? What does it feel like when you're watching a YouTube channel? What does it feel like when you're listening to a podcast? Like, go beyond just the entertainment in the mind and go into this feeling state, the feeling of it. What is your body experiencing? Then you're starting to discern. Okay. And discernment has there's no explanation for it. It's just a state of being. Now, when you drop past discernment, you're in resonance. And resonance is your soul. Resonance is absolute. There is absolutely no reason. There's no why. There's no emotion with resonance. There's no chaotic energies with resonance. Resonance is the way that you are designed to live on this planet in flow. Okay, but you have to practice discernment first in order to actually drop in and feel resonance. It's your soul signature. It's the highest aligned state that you could possibly be in all day long, that can only be experienced if you're dropped into the body in such a deep state of trust that you don't drop back up into your mind to try or fall or jump back up into your mind and try to figure everything out, which is what we do, which is so confusing. Okay, so with that as the surface level description of what we're about to go into, here's my story. And I'm sharing my story because if you listen to me, you know that I truly believe that every single thing that I am experiencing is learning how to become more adept at evolving in this human consciousness. So whatever I am going through is practice in being more of who we came here to be on this planet. Okay, more of the master that we came here to be, the soul embodied. And so I'm committed to sharing everything because I know that all of you are experiencing similar things or are going to experience similar things. And so it puts it into perspective and it makes you feel not so crazy. So in a nutshell, this past week, I had a trip planned to go to Kenya. And I had this trip planned for a couple of weeks. And right before I was initially supposed to go to Kenya on the 12th of this month. And as it got closer to the day of departure, something felt off. Okay. And what I mean when I say off is like, if I don't feel in alignment with a decision, then there's something off about that decision. And to me, alignment, when I'm in alignment, there's no questioning happening. I'm just in flow, and what is next is next. And it just feels easy. It feels right. It's what's next. So knowing what that feels like, when I'm about to go on to a trip and I start to question it, right? then there's something happening internally around this decision. I have to start to peel it apart a little bit. What's going on, right? Why am I questioning uh, what should be the aligned state? Okay. You can't force yourself into an aligned state. You're not in charge. The part of you that wants to be in charge is the ego. The ego is never, ever, 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 ever in charge of discernment or resonance. Okay. The ego always wants to be in charge. It always wants to understand, and it always wants to feel um, in control. All right. And when you start listening to resonance, the ego is not in control. And so what you're going to be in for the next gosh knows how many months and years is this game between the ego wanting to stay in charge and in control, and resonance, your soul trying to guide you. And it is profound when we start to really feel into this. And it's fun when you start playing the game. So I knew that since I was questioning this trip, that something was out of alignment. Maybe I wasn't supposed to go. So for about 2 days, I was investigating internally what was going on. So when I investigate, what I do is I imagine myself in Kenya. I imagine myself going there. I imagine myself in the Airbnb. I imagine myself there. And then I imagine myself here at home. And I try to feel into both places, both options. And when I do that, it gives me, it's like one tentacle goes here, one tentacle goes here. And it gives me this like idea of what it may feel like. I get to kind of explore the two different options, right? And so when I'm in this confused state, trying to figure out what is absolute resonance. Okay. So, resonance to me, I have to practice dropping so deeply into the knowingness state. Um, and it can be difficult because when you're trying to drop into the resonance state, which is absolute knowingness, you're trying to get there. And again, you can't get there. You're trying to figure out what's the right option. What am I supposed to do? And that you're like, well, I could go here and this would happen. If I go here, this would happen. And so then I have to try to go into the feeling state. Okay. The feeling state. Where do I feel most calm? Where do I feel most at ease? That's alignment. It doesn't mean it's going to be easiest or it's going to have the least amount of stress. Okay. Because I don't know what's coming with either decision. And I don't need to know what's coming with either decision. All right. I never need to know the outcome. That is an attachment. And if you are attached to the outcome, i.e., well, if I go to Kenya, I want it to be easy and effortless, and I want it to have no bumps in the road. You cannot be attached to outcomes, because then you're making a decision from the ego based on a potential outcome that may never happen. You understand? So your decision that you're making in this now moment is an egoic decision based on how you think something's going to end up. When you drop into resonance, it does not have an attachment to the outcome. All resonance is doing is giving you the signal in the now of what is highest aligned right here, right now, which is the highest aligned state in the future. Okay. But it's not saying to itself, you know, if I stay and not go to Kenya, these are the things that are going to happen. If I go to Kenya, these are the things that are going to happen. Resonance doesn't do that. It is only in absolute presence. It's a complete detached state. Okay. But when we're navigating it, it's like, hold on a second. Like, if I go to Kenya, I want to make sure that it's smooth. Is it going to be smooth? Is it going to be not smooth? If I stay here, am I going to be creative? Am I going to be this? Like, you could do all of that, but you still aren't dropped into resonance. And the best way that I can give you a definition for me of resonance, okay, it's an absolute knowingness. Okay. An absolute knowingness is if I were to say to you, what is your name? And you were to say, oh, my name is Kate or Joe or Sandra, Lottie, right? Tasha, Sam. How do you know your name? Well, that's my name. There's no logic behind it, meaning you don't have to try to defend it. You're not thinking to yourself, is that really my name? Like, maybe I should change my name. Like, no, resonance is that strong of an absolute. And resonance changes. Resonance can change from 1 minute to the next. That's the flow state. Okay, so it doesn't matter how much resonance shifts because it's always shifting. The key is that resonance is an absolute anchored knowingness that feels just like when someone says, "What's your phone number?" "Here's my number." "Well, how do you know that's your number?" "Well, that's my number." "Hmm. Are you sure about that? Like, maybe you messed up the numbers. Maybe, are you sure?" No, you're like, have you lost your mind? Of course, that's my number. That's my name. This is it. It's an absolute. You're not searching for ways to defend it. You're not searching for the why. It just is. Okay, so right before the 12th, which is when I was supposed to fly, literally 2 days before, I decide I'm not going to go to Kenya. This is what feels most aligned. It feels it feels the most peaceful decision. I don't understand why. I really want to go to Kenya. My heart is like, God, I want to be in Kenya so bad. Okay, I wanted to be in Kenya, but my resonance said no. All right. It's a deeper dropping into soul. And the reason resonance is so important is because it's always the highest aligned state that's going to give you the highest outcome that you don't understand, you being the ego. So I make the decision, done. I let my friend know in Kenya, not going. And then a couple of days later, I'm like, I think I'm going to go to this Utah cabin that I love to go to. I wanted to go somewhere. And so I planned this trip on Monday to go to this Utah cabin in Zion on Thursday. This past Thursday, I was going to go. Um, if you know, I was on a flight to Kenya on Saturday. So Thursday, I book a trip on Monday or Tuesday to go to this Zion ranch. And it feels great. Feels aligned. Resonance felt like it was yes. It might have been off. It might not have been resonance, right? I don't care. I'm just practicing how to do this energetic world. So I start packing Wednesday night and I'm feeling off. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. This doesn't feel aligned. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? And again, I'm like, oof, I don't think I'm supposed to go to Utah. Right. And listen, these are like first world type of problems, but the reason I'm sharing these with you guys is because whatever you're going through, it's going to be similar. It's just going to have a different story. Maybe it's a divorce, maybe it's a job, maybe it's friendships. It's the same thing. It's just a different story. It's learning how to live in resonance. Okay, so Wednesday night, I pack. Something just feels a little bit off in my system. And that is when the bell starts to ring. Fuck. Okay. I know that in absolute alignment with resonance, there's never any rattling of, oof, this might not be quite right. Resonance doesn't do that. Okay. So most of our lives, we live in a state of mind. We're not even in resonance. We're in the mind just trying to figure out what is the right and the wrong thing to do, what people want you to do, what they don't want you to do. If you say you're going to do something, you better do it. If you're going to plan a trip, you better follow through. If you're about to get married, you better get married. I was supposed to get married, and 2 months before the wedding, I stopped the wedding. Like life doesn't work like that. Life is in flow, which means that it's always going to change, which means that nothing is permanent and nothing is static and nothing stays the same. Welcome to the flow state. So this idea of you have to follow through, you have to do what you say, you have to commit, you can't change your mind. These are really restrictive mind-based ways of being that we're stepping out of. And it all has to do with dropping deeper into the body, which is a feeling state, which is the energetic world, which is where you find resonance. As resonance is going to disappoint you. Trust me when I say this. Resonance is going to give you a fucking run for your money. Everybody that talks about how they're following flow, I don't know about that. Your world should look very chaotic to a lot of people if you're truly following the flow state. Trust me when I say this. The more that we start to drop deeper and deeper into resonance and flow, people are going to look at us. Your life is going to shift and jive and change in ways that are going to look chaotic in the beginning until humanity starts to realize this is how you live. This is how you live. This is the flow state. So Thursday morning, I get up and I'm like, oof, I just don't feel quite right about going to Utah. But I fight against it. Okay. I resist this like feeling of I'm supposed to stay. So I get in my car and I start to drive to the airport like 4:30 in the morning. And I'm driving and I'm like, "Ooh, I don't think I'm supposed to go." So I pull off the highway, I turn around. This is no joke. Pull off the highway, I turn around, I get back on the highway like I'm going home. And then I'm like, "Well, maybe I am supposed to go." So I get off the highway, turn around and go back towards the airport. I do that twice. Okay. So I'm so committed to figuring out this energetic world that here I am going back and forth on a freaking freeway at 4:30 in the morning. I get off the exit to the to the airport. I get gas and I'm like, "Oof, God, should I turn around? The airport's right there." I'm like, and I'm feeling into the options. I'm feeling into going. I'm feeling into staying. Nothing's dropping. I can't find resonance, the absolute knowingness. I can't find it. When you can't find resonance, it's so uncomfortable. Like it's so uncomfortable. So I didn't quite know. So, but I knew something wasn't right. All right. So then I get to the airport, I park, I'm walking in and I'm like, ooh, I know what it feels like to be in alignment. I am not in alignment, but I don't have that absolute yet. Walk into the airport, go through security, get to my gate, and I'm standing there and I'm like, again, I'm doing the like tentacles, right? Back and forth. And I'm recognizing that I'm fighting against, like, I shouldn't be fighting against going. Right? Now you can absolutely just go and have a good time and that's fine, but I don't live life against resisting what is. Most of the time I cannot live in the resistance. I have to follow flow. And flow is alignment. Flow is resonance. And so if anything in my life feels off, I will investigate it and do my best to align with flow. And so I realized I was fighting against something. So I said, I think I'm going home now. And as soon as I said, I'm going to go home now, then calmness took over. Um, Anytime you're in alignment, you'll be in flow. Resistance is not alignment. It's the opposite, right? So I go home and I unpack and I feel fabulous. And the entire time that I'm on my way to the airport, all I want to do is go to Africa. I'm like, God, I just want to go to Kenya. 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 Um, I just want to be in Kenya. All I wanted to do was be heading to Kenya. Like I felt it in my heart. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Kenya. So this was Thursday morning. I come back and I got credit for my trip to Kenya. Everything was on credit. I didn't lose any money. I didn't have to pay any extra money. So I rebook on Thursday afternoon. I rebook my flight to go to Kenya for Saturday. And I'm like, I'm feeling it. It feels right. I'm like, oh, I feel good. I feel relaxed. I feel aligned. Like, it just feels, ah, you know, good. Okay, we're going to Kenya Saturday. I pack. Nothing feels out of alignment. Everything feels great. Friday night, I pack. I get all my stuff ready, all my work stuff ready. I only have a certain amount of days that I'll be in Kenya, so I'm like prepping everything. And in looking back, mo I it was it was what pulled me to go to Kenya was my heart, and your heart is different than resonance. People aren't gonna like this. Your heart is very different than the absolute resonance of your soul, and the reason is because you could love something and really want something. Your heart could want something so badly, right? You're attached to something that you really want. But underneath that real strong love for something, you'll find resonance. Sometimes resonance is connected to that love of what you really want, and sometimes it's not. And that, my friend, is the hardest. When the love or the attachment to some sort of outcome or desire that you want is not in alignment with resonance. So what I believe was happening was my heart really wanted to go to Kenya. I really was attached to the land, to the feelings, I being the ego. Resonance wanted me to stay. But my heart took over, my desire took over, all right? And that was driving me going to Kenya, which is fine. I'm not going to beat myself up and say, "Oh, you should have listened to resonance, Lori." Like resonance wasn't what was leading me. What was available and what was most prominent to me was this heart desire. So I followed it, and it didn't feel out of alignment. And so if something doesn't feel out of alignment, I'm not going to question it. So I pack. I have a 3-leg flight. I have a flight to Houston, then I have a flight to Frankfurt, then I have a flight to Nairobi. And I feel really at peace. I'm on my flight in the morning. The whole time at the airport, I feel good. I feel at peace. I feel calm. I don't feel rattled. I feel excited. Every part of my body was at ease with this decision. Every part of my body. The entire 4 hours, my entire body was calm. There was no anxiousness, no stress, no worry, no fear. There was no questioning. There was no thinking about what's it going to be like. It was good. Okay. I don't know how else to explain this, but I had no doubt. And I'm sharing this because in hindsight, uh, what was pulling me to Kenya may not have been resonance. It may have been heart, which is very, very interesting to start dissecting. Okay. The second, and I have never had this happen before in my entire life, and there's no way that somebody's going to be able to understand this unless they have experienced it. But there was no underlying trauma in my body that was being ignored. There was no uh I live in such a pure energetic state that if I'm feeling anything, I'm going to feel it. Okay. So I am solidly stoked and ready for my next part of the flight. Like, I'm going to get off. I got a 3-hour layover. I'm going to Frankfurt. I'm going to do some work, do some editing. And I kid you freaking not, the moment, I'll never forget this moment that the wheels hit the tarmac, a switch flipped. And all of a sudden, it was as if the love and desire for going to Kenya was pulled from me. It was gone. And I'm not saying like it trickled in. I am not saying that it slowly started to appear in the next hour. I'm saying within 1 millisecond, how I was feeling completely did a 180, and I no longer had any desire. I was not going to Kenya. It was an internal, powerful, absolute knowingness that the heart and love that was in my body driving me to Kenya was completely and utterly gone. There was no stress, there was no worry, there was no anxiety, there was no fear. There were no racing thoughts. There was no chaotic thoughts. It was just gone. It wasn't a tired feeling, my friend. It was an internal, the best way that I can describe it is imagine, this is how I tried to describe it to my mother. Imagine that because I wasn't tired. It had nothing to do with exhaustion. It had nothing to do with any of that. It was, imagine you just fell in love with someone, okay? And you have this, you're excited and you feel at peace and you're happy, right? And you're driving to a dinner with this love that you just met a couple of months ago, and everything seems to be going so well, right? And it feels right, and you're just happy, you're just content. Everything just seems to be okay. And literally within 1 millisecond, you turn to your partner and every single thing you felt was gone. So now you're looking at your partner and literally you have absolutely no love. You have no desire. Everything you felt 2 seconds ago is pulled and gone. That is the best way that I can describe what happened. Your system isn't reacting. There was no anxiety moving. There was no energy moving through the body in terms of like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I shouldn't be doing this. None of that. I was calm as a cucumber. It was just this absolute knowingness that was like, you're not going. Now, for the next 2 hours, I was in shock because I only follow what is in my body. I cannot do something that does not feel right or out of alignment unless I absolutely have to. If I absolutely have to follow through with something that I don't feel in alignment with, I'll do it, but it will be very, very uncomfortable. I just can't live my life that way anymore. I won't, for the most part, if I don't have to. So I land in the Houston airport, 3.5 hour flight. I have 2 legs of my trip left. I have a 4-hour layover, 3.5 hour layover. And I'm recognizing that my intuitiveness, my knowingness, my resonance is like, you're not going. And I'm walking through the airport to my next gate because I can't really believe that this is what's intuitively moving through me. And I hear over the loudspeaker, which I've never heard before in any airport ever. Over the loudspeaker, it said, if you're looking for a devotional space to pray or something like that, you can find it at gate D16. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. There's a place to pray. Because my gate was D10 going to Frankfurt. So I was on my way to D10 and the prayer place was D16. And it came over the loudspeaker as I was like, what is going on here? Am I seriously turning around in Houston? Um, and so I get to this prayer place and I sit in this room. Well, first I call my mom and I'm like, yo, you're not going to believe this. because I was in shock. Truly, like, shock. And I know this is a first world problem, and I know that this is like some people are going to hear this story and say, big deal, just go to Africa, who cares? Like, but there's a deeper, deeper, deeper lesson and training here around how we're designed to live on this planet. And it's not about the details. It's about learning how to be in a flow state and what that actually means. And how to this is how we're designed to live. This is our highest calling. Like, this is where we will find the most peace in life. Um, this is where we will find the most joy when we get out of the way and stop living in this restrictive, confined, jail-like cell that this planet has put us in, where we aren't even connected to soul. We're not even connected to resonance. We're in guilt and shame and fear and resistance. And we're just robotically, unconsciously doing life that is never going to be at our highest calling until we drop in and we start feeling in such a way that you literally are thinking that you're crazy or chaotic or in like all these different, it's nuts, right? It's crazy. And so when you start to become this, which you're becoming, and you start to become more of this energetic scientist, life starts to get really, really interesting. When you start depicting and peeling back the energetic world that you're in every day, it starts to get really interesting because you're going to realize you're not in control. I didn't choose what happened. I didn't want to land in Houston and all of a sudden have to turn around and go home. I wanted to go to Africa. I wanted to go to Kenya. I wanted it so badly. Resonance, soul said, you're not going. And those are two very distinct differences. The you that wants something so badly is not soul. Soul has no desire. Soul just is. It's just what's next. And soul is always going to lead you to your highest potential. Soul isn't concerned about gratification. Soul isn't concerned about outcomes, potentials. It's only concerned with the present moment. It's only concerned with now. And it is always going to open you to the quantum field that you are not capable of doing. You being the egoic personality, persona, structured mind kind of thought. So your desires are going to be your desire for something may be overridden by your soul, by resonance. And we have to start listening to the soul and to resonance above what we really want in life. Because this is where you will find peace. This is where you'll find absolute contentment and calm, centeredness. It's in resonance, not in desires all the time. Now, you can have desires. That's fine. Create your life and have desires, but recognize that that is very different than soul resonance. Maybe they're aligned at the same time, and maybe they're not. They're allowed to not be aligned. Your desires and everything you want and how you want it to look and how you want it to go and your expectations may not be in the highest aligned state with soul. This is the difference between free will and divine will. Divine will is soul. Free will is your ego choosing how you want it to be, what it needs to look like. That's the control state. Sometimes your heart's desire, literally, will align with soul resonance, and sometimes it won't. And when they don't align, there will be dissonance. You will be questioning things. You will not feel quite right about something. And it is a blessing if this is happening for you, because you are learning how to drop deeper into absolute knowingness, resonance, and soul. Your soul is always guiding you. It's always guiding you. It's just that we are slowly unpacking this programmed state of being where we are constantly in mind, constantly in control, constantly trying to take charge, constantly trying to not feel certain things. The only way that you will drop deeper into resonance, soul, and living literally a life of peace and calm and joy, even in the midst of the chaotic roller coaster, which is always going to be here, there is still going to be this underlying calm that your soul is going to try to get you to be in. And it will require you to step out of control. Will require you to feel everything. The only way that you will feel resonance is that you have to feel everything else that you're going to hit along the way: anger, rage, fear, stress, worry, anxiety, depression. I don't know. You tell me what you hit when you're dropping down the floors to drop down and anchor into resonance, which is your soul. Your soul's like this, waiting to hold you, right? And what you, the ego structure that's in control and charge, what it needs is it wants to stay above and control what it feels, what it hits, what it drops into, what it all looks like. It's got to look like this and like this and like this and like this. That's suffering. You will be in a suffering state for the rest of your life if you are trying to stay in control. Your soul is saying, hey, I just need you to drop completely, like just let go. Literally let go, just feel deeper and deeper and deeper into what is over and over and over again, because whatever is arising for you is for your highest good. It's training you on how to just simply feel, because feeling is the superpower that humanity has forgotten. And the reason it's the superpower is because the only way that you will ever navigate this evolutionary shift in consciousness is that you feel. Energy is all around you. You are energy. Energy is a felt sense of being. It is not logic. It is not reason. It is not figuring out. It is not a why or a should. You are designed to live life as an energetic being in an energetic world through discernment and resonance. While you still have this egoic structure that is going to want to experience things and desire things and have specific outcomes and want to be in control, and they're learning how to work together. But you have to start to drop down into the absoluteness of what is guiding you, this internal compass, right? So I sat and prayed because I still didn't know what to do. So I asked Jesus to come into the prayer space, and I was like, please God, please Jesus, tell me, like, please help me, because I was so confused. I was confused because I couldn't believe what resonance was doing. What resonance was, this absolute knowingness. I couldn't wrap my head around it. It'd be like if you were so 100% sure about something and within a second it was gone. You had none of that. There was no feeling of that. It was gone. And you can't force yourself to feel a certain way. You can't force yourself to love somebody. You can't force yourself to want to live in a house that you don't want to live in. You can't force yourself to love a job. You can't force. You can accept. You can allow it, but you can't force yourself to feel a certain way. And when you start living in the flow state, you start following resonance, which is like, all right, I don't know why, but this is what's next, and this is what's next, and this is what's next. So I needed a little clarity. So I invited Jesus into my space, into this prayer room that I found at the airport right across my gate. And I was like, yo, what the F is happening here? He said, go home. And I'm like, what? But why? Like, why? He said, this is a training. Is what he said to me. This is a training. You are attached to the outcome. You're attached to specific ways in which this experience was going to happen. And I still don't quite understand 100% what this attachment really is, and I think it's gonna be shown to me more and more. But he said, "You're not designed to be attached to the travel, like where you're going, what it looks like." And again, this is just my story. So your story looks like you're not supposed to be attached to your job or your relationship or finances, right? Just put your story to travel. Okay. Take travel out and put your whatever it is in there. It's the same thing. Whatever we are attached to, the outcome, the expectation, that's what he's saying is needs to be let go. And I think that if I was not necessarily attached to what I wanted or Kenya, Africa to give me, whatever my heart was desiring, if I didn't have that attachment, perhaps I would have felt the absolute resonance of staying. I don't know. I'm still unraveling it. But I got up and I knew I was going home. I knew I wasn't going to Africa. And it was really difficult because, again, my heart wanted to go to Africa. My heart wanted it. And I think it's really, really powerful and beautiful to recognize sometimes what your heart wants and what resonance wants is different. And the only way that I can describe resonance to you guys, again, I'm doing my best, is that it's just an absolute. It's not trauma. It's not a triggered response. It's not confusion. It's not an emotion. It doesn't sway back and forth. It's just an absolute. And most of the time we are either disconnected from it, or if we feel into it and it doesn't work with the narrative that we want as our outcome, we will ignore it. It's a lot easier, trust me, to ignore resonance than to follow it many times. Because when you follow resonance, there's a lot of different things that may unravel that you're not in control of, or people are going to think about you, or whatever it may be. I mean, I had to tell all of you, which is embarrassing. And then I had to tell my friend in Africa or Kenya that was waiting for me, which was embarrassing. And I also just had to accept it within my own state of being, how I live my life, which was embarrassing because it wasn't what I wanted. But I wasn't going to ever, ever, ever. I am committed to not living my life out of integrity, out of alignment, out of resonance. I won't do it. And I'm realizing more and more how humbling that can be. So anyway, I sat and I called United, and they were like, "Yeah, you have all the credit back for the entire flight, the whole flight, there and back. And the next flight out to back to SFO is in 2 hours, and here's your ticket." And it was very easy. It was super smooth. And there was a calmness. I was sad. There was a part of me that was sad because I wasn't going to be in Kenya, but I knew it was the highest aligned state. There was an absoluteness, a calm, a peace. And it felt right. So I literally got on a flight that at the same gate that I got off the flight at. And I was home by 8:30 at night, unpacking. And in absolute humility, I was humbled by the human experience. I was humbled by living energetically. I was humbled by what we're actually doing here. Humbled by it and grateful for life and for the gift of me being able to experience this over and over and over again so that I can teach it, so that I can share it, so that I can remind us of what it looks like, what it feels like, what it may look like for you, um, and what we're actually doing here, what we're actually navigating. And I can guarantee you that your story may not be as ridiculously dramatic as mine, okay? But I can promise you that from this point forward, if not already, you're going to start navigating life more and more through this lens. And I hope to goodness gracious that you remember this story. And when you find yourself in this battle, because it's a difficult battle sometimes to figure out, you go crazy, that you remember this. You remember Lori's ridiculous story of that immediate shift, that immediate click that happened over within a millisecond, and that's okay, that is allowed. You're allowed to change your mind, which is not changing your mind, my friend. It's resonance speaking through you as soul. Soul wants to continue to lead you and to guide you, being the ego structure, the part of you that thinks you're in control. And it's not easy. This is not a walk in the park. This is not, I'm just going to sit in meditation and bring myself into some sort of high vibe, positive thinking thing. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is the experiential process of evolving. You can read all the books you want. You can sit in all the meditative states that you want. You can bring yourself into all of the highest vibrational places ever. You can visualize the new earth. You can love and light as much as you want. But when it comes down to actually putting your feet on the ground and being on the battlefield of this spiritual experience where you are evolving into higher states of being, which is actually becoming more energetic, it is going to look like a freaking shit show. I don't know about you, but it is not a walk in the park, and vibing myself into some high vibe state doesn't help me dropping deeper and deeper into the resonance of my soul. Because you can be in whatever high vibrational state you want. What are you going to do when your desire for something is not in alignment with your resonance, your soul, and you are in such a state of like, I've got to be this high vibe, positive person, that these things aren't aligning. And now you're fighting or resisting against this resonance that just wants to be. It wants to guide you. You're going to judge it. You're going to think it's wrong. You're going to think, well, this isn't supposed to happen. I'm supposed to be in some peaceful, calm state. I'm supposed to be in flow. And now I don't. It's gonna create more chaos. This needs to be normal. This insane, intense, energetic experience needs to be, we need to normalize it. That it's this is not a walk in the mother freaking park. Becoming energetic in a physical form is not as simple as just high vibing yourself into some state. As much as we want to believe that, you can positive think yourself through life as much as you want. At the end of the day, you are dropping deeper and deeper into soul, which is resonance, which is a feeling state. And you don't get to control it, which means that as you're dropping down the floors, the layers, and you start realizing, holy shit, I'm trying to control this emotion. I don't want to feel this emotion. You're going to be in suffering. The flow state allows for everything. Flow state allows for everything. The flow state allows every energy, every emotion, every thought, every behavior. It allows for it all. There is no judgment around what is in the flow state. There just isn't. And there's a constant practice that you're being pummeled into. to be able to recognize what is okay for you, what isn't okay for you, what you want, what you don't want, what you should, what you shouldn't, etc., so that you can keep practicing how to drop into this flow state. And people that are experiencing and living in a flow state, life is going to constantly be in change. So change can mean that every moment you're feeling something different. Change can be that one moment you want this, the next you want that. I mean, when we start practicing and living in a state of absolute aligned resonance, we live in presence. And when we live in presence, absolute presence, life is going to look very, very different for humanity. Very different. And in the meantime, we are practicing this in a very humble way through a feeling state, battling with our minds over and over again, and remembering and recognizing that there is a soul deep within you. Within the physical body, there is an essence that is called soul. It's a vibrational tone that is experienced in a feeling state that's called resonance. It is an absolute knowingness, and you can't find it. You can't go search for it. It just arises. So let it just arise when it starts to arise. And in the meantime, be the dissecting energetic scientist that's getting curious about everything. Do not beat yourself up. Stop beating yourself up. Just be curious, be humble, be open, be okay with changing your mind 800 times. Be okay with this. You are learning how to unravel or unwrap being energetic. It should look crazy. You should be going to the airport and getting off the freeway and turning around and going back the other way and then going this. That's what it should look like. It should look crazy because you're learning how to feel absolute resonance over what the heart really wants or what the mind really wants or what the world really wants or what people really want. And it's okay to not follow that most aligned state. Just recognize when you're not. There's many times where I'm doing things and I know it's not the most aligned state for me, but I'm doing it anyways and I'm recognizing it. Of course, we've always been doing it right when it looks wrong. If you are going against the grain, then you are evolving. If you look crazy to people, you're most likely evolving, which means we're all evolving. But what I mean by that is that you are courageously dropping deeper and deeper into soul. We're not even close. This is the profound it is so profound, you guys, what we are doing. I swear to you, I don't have enough time in this day to describe the power of what we're in, the powerful process that this is. It is a next level recognition. So, some friends of mine reached out to me and they said, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you're struggling right now, or that you're going through a really hard time." And I'm like, "Huh? I'm good." Which, by the way, so it's funny how people think that experience that I had was indicative of me having a difficult time right now. Because when I got home Saturday night, I woke up on Sunday and I had probably one of the most peaceful and calm days I've had in a very, very long time. Um, I just got this amazing message right now. Wow. Um, Crazy. I had the most creative day. I had the most peaceful day. I had the most and every day since, well, that was Sunday yesterday, today. Um, it's like there's just something profound that happens when we let go and we let soul or resonance guide us. I'm not I feel very, very peaceful. I created an amazing 8-week course that I can't wait to share with you guys. I created a line 7.0 starting next week. Um, I um, I learned more and more of what you and I are navigating and going through in this evolution so that I can hopefully help you out when you're thinking that you're crazy. Um, it's about not suffering anymore. We're not designed to suffer. And we're learning how to remember that. And suffering comes from not wanting to be in what is. And so there's a resistance to what is. And what you're learning right now is how to just simply feel with what is. Just, it's okay. It's all okay. You're just becoming more energetic. All right, that's it for now, you guys. That's my story. And thank you for listening. I hope to goodness gracious that this helped you in some way. If you want to hit the thumbs up button, that would be fabulous. Um, Hitting the thumbs up would be great. Passing this video on would be great. Sharing it, spreading it far and wide. Um, you know, it's interesting because we like to be distracted by the sensationalism of what's happening right now around the planet. Like, oh, this is going to happen and prepare for this. And did you hear what's happening with this person or with, this and that? And to me, the only thing that freaking matters is how to become more and more of a master in this energetic world. What else matters? Why are we so concerned about all these other things? Like, if we just simply focused on and mastered our own energetic world and remembered how to do this, the whole world would change so much faster, but we're so distracted by all these other things, which I understand. But every moment of every day right now for you, you are literally being gifted an opportunity to release the suffering that you may find yourself in, the resistance that you may find yourself in. Thank you, Maria, for the super chat. The distractions that you may find yourself in. You're just becoming more and more of a courageous badass. And life wants to gift you. Life wants to gift you with love and abundance and peace and calm and freedom. I'm telling you, that is what life is all about, is breaking free from the chains of this programmed prison that we have lived in for a very long time, which is that you are supposed to be living in mind, not in body, not in soul, not in heart. And you're breaking free. You're breaking free. All right, you guys. I once had a psychic girlfriend, but she left me before we met. I love you. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Also, if you want to join this Thursday, 2 p.m., join me live here on YouTube for the last series. Thank you, Lars, for that super chat. The series that I was doing about the divine design, my book, The Divine Design. We are on episode 6, which is the last episode, at least for now. And we're going to be talking about 3D, 5D, 7D, human evolution. All right. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for walking through this shift with me, this evolutionary shift. We're rock stars. We're lion and lionesses. We got this. Mwah.